Alright, this one's gonna be a bit different and frankly pretty short as I gotta prep for these two colossal reviews, but for those of you who don't know, I am a huge Johnny Cash fan. I've read his entire autobiography, I've seen most of his documentaries, including the ones not centered around him, I've breached into collecting all of his records, I pray to his spirit every single night, I stalk his family, and I have seen the Johnny Cash official concert experience. And it certainly was an experience. I have absolutely no problem admitting bias here. Johnny Cash has been and always will be such a mountainous influence on my life, from his songwriting, his views on the world, what he values, and how he tried to live his life overall, that it has undoubtedly had an impact on my criticism with this official concert experience. And if that's enough for you to turn this review off, I do not blame you in the slightest. However, I will nonetheless do my best in providing a clear and honest review for all of you. So, what is the Johnny Cash official concert experience? Well, the premise of it is centered around the idea of bringing Johnny Cash back to stages for plebes such as you and I to go see. Not in the form of a hologram as seen with the Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, or Tupac performances, but in the form of a live band with already filmed footage of him on screen, with audio mixing and sound design edited to blend both the live band and the recorded vocals. I suppose this breaches into the very contentious debate about whether it is ethically right to recreate and project a digital replica of someone's personality, talents, and likeness back to the stage for fans to enjoy long after they've already passed. And the truth is, I don't have a clear answer for you. I think the line between right and wrong is incredibly blurred regarding the use of AI to recreate a deceased person's likeness. For instance, the majority of people, including myself, find it disgusting in cases such as The Flash, but also have no issue when it comes to recreating Kevin Conroy's voice for the Clone Talk Batman videos. So I think it's pretty clear if you have no issue with these, then there's a degree of recreating the deceased you generally don't have an issue with. Obviously, context is a huge factor, as well as the way in which they are utilized, as well as how the person or persons being brought back would have felt about it. I mean, if I were a celebrity and people were mimicking and puppeteering my likeness for content, I'd be pretty upset, but again, that's subject to the individual. I think the question we're all asking is, should they have used holographic technology or AI to bring back Johnny Cash in a way that resembles the Michael Jackson performance in order to create a more authentic concert experience? No. But I still would have gone. Sorry, guilty as charged, but as mentioned before, I'm such a Johnny Cash shill that I will buy whatever you've got with his name on it for whatever price you tell me. Johnny Cash is second to Jesus to me, and if buying a wall-mounted dildo with his name on it will bring me just a little bit closer to his holiness, well then.
Shut up and take my money!
So let's talk about my experience. As I walked into the venue hall, absolutely belligerent by the bottle of Tito's I drank and the 3 whippets I smacked in the backseat of my car, I sat down and enjoyed the show. A group of 5 band members came out, count 'em 5, and holy shit, is that fucking Debbie Horton? Came out and opened classically with Folsom Prison Blues. It was then that I started noticing certain things, not negatives by any means, just things. Like how the audio between the recorded footage and the band was turned pretty low volume-wise. Considering I was the youngest person in the audience who willingly attended, I suppose that makes sense. Don't want to bang on those sensitive boomer eardrums too hard after all. And would you look at that, they actually sound decent. They're complimenting Cash's vocals. The music is tight even if the mix is a little low, but then they started playing I Got Stripes, and I immediately felt the energy in the room get nervous, because it wasn't Johnny Cash singing it. Oh no, it was the performers themselves. That's right, y'all, the official Johnny Cash concert experience is about 54% performed with Johnny Cash footage and 46% a glorified cover band. Now, whether or not you feel this is a waste of your money is up to you, the consumer. It wasn't a waste for me, but I can see it just as easily being a waste for you. I have nothing against cover bands, I think they have their place in society and in the music industry. I also have nothing against the performers, I thought they were all decent. Nothing to brag about, except for Debbie Horton of course, but going to the official concert experience, you expect a little bit more, you know? You expect a little pizzazz, some sauce, the old whamma-lamma as some would say. Regarding this official concert experience, I think it's fair to say there are some songs you'd want to include where there wasn't much, if any, footage of him, such as The Man Comes Around, Hurt, I've Been Everywhere, God's Gonna Cut You Down, Dealey Is Gone, and well, basically anything from the American albums. I'd have no problem with the utilization of a cover band for these, considering they are huge parts of Cash's legacy, and yet there's not a whole lot of footage of him playing these songs. However, there are some songs where there is footage and yet the creator, John Carter Cash, opted not to use it in favor of only using footage from The Johnny Cash Show, which aired from 1969 to 1971. I'm not sure if this was a decision from an audio mixing standpoint. Maybe they couldn't isolate the vocals exclusively from some of these performances, and yet that didn't seem to matter during Ring of Fire, where there were huge audio mixing issues that should have been absolutely resolved beforehand. Like, listen to this, the mixing is amateurish. I don't know, it just seems like such a bizarre choice to only include footage from the Johnny Cash show. Some may argue it's due to the audio being better, which likely is the case for some of these songs, but there's also footage and audio for A Boy Named Sue or Man in Black that's definitely better, so I don't know, John, hit me up about this one, because the Johnny Cash show primarily served as a music variety show, exposing viewers to a lot of up-and-coming artists from all styles and walks of life. Like, it is the Johnny Cash show, and he did perform and debut some of his most iconic songs on the show, but it isn't necessarily a Johnny Cash concert performance. So why would you choose this aisle for your footage and audio? I don't know, it just doesn't make much sense to me. Oh, also here's the setlist for the official Johnny Cash concert experience. I would have made some obvious changes. For one, I would have included The Ballad of Ira Hayes, Hurt, I've Been Everywhere, Guess Things Happen That Way, Don't Take Your Guns to Town, Girl from the North Country, and Ghost Riders in the Sky performed either by footage or a cover band, but my personal preferences are neither here nor there. I just think if Johnny Cash were resurrected today and told this would be his biggest tour yet, he would have absolutely had these in his setlist and taken out Ride This Train, San Quentin, So Doggone Lonesome, Wildwood Flower, 40 Shades of Green, All Over Again, and Luther Played the Boogie. And I'm not saying this because I don't absolutely love these songs, but because I think there are more recognizable hits to help encapsulate Cash's entire career, hence the whole point of this official concert experience. As far as the pacing of the show, it moves at a pretty breakneck pace. The showrunners clearly know what you're there for, you want to listen to Johnny Cash's songs and appreciate his music, so there's not a whole lot of talking or downtime between songs. I did notice, however, how bizarre the tone shifted at times. Like John Carter Cash was talking about how Johnny advocated for Native American rights and how he always stood up for the downtrodden, and I naturally thought they would play like Ballad of Ira Hayes or something, but no, they played like Cry 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 or something, and I was just kind of flabbergasted at the missed opportunity. Like, what they wanted to talk about and what they wanted to express about Johnny Cash's life was not encapsulated by the music that followed. It was just a weird decision. At the end of the day, I wanted to make this video because there's not a lot, if any, coverage on this, and there's been a lot of discourse pertaining to this concert about whether it's a cash grab or not, and I'm just like, of course it is. It's clearly a product by the Cash estate to make money by trying to recreate the experience one might have watching Johnny Cash. Is that wrong? Maybe. I don't feel like I have the moral or ethical authority to decide such. All I can say is that I had a swell time, but I'm also a Johnny Cash fanatic. This may be something you want to skip out on if you're not as invested in him, his life, or his career as I am, but if you want to take a trip down Johnny Cash lane, this may be for you. I would recommend other options such as Cash the Autobiography or the Gift documentary available on YouTube right now for free. In fact, I'll link it down in the description below so you can watch it. I would recommend these more solely because I think they paint a clearer picture pertaining to who he was, what he stood for, and the styles he revolutionized, but regardless, I had a really fun time with this official concert experience. I think there was a huge amount of respect for his career in this concert. I think the performers did great with the limitations they were provided, and it even managed to bring a tear to my eye during Sunday Morning Coming Down, a song simply about enjoying life. Anyways, I hope this shed a little light on this experience. I hope I wasn't too bogged down by bias, but nonetheless, I will see y'all in the next one.